seeing our contributions, like they said, seeing what we can do, and making sure that our children self-esteem is intact so that they know that they can be contributors also to what happens in Black history, to what happens in their community. But actually, as Black folks, we celebrate every day.
All the time, yes.
And, and while we certainly are celebrating it, and it's important for Black folks, it's also important for other folks to know what our contributions have been. And so it's a way for us to tell our story, to share our story, to celebrate it, but to educate others as well.
One of the exciting things about Los Angeles is that Black history isn't the domain of just Black people or the responsibility of only Black people. So, this weekend in the Valley, Councilwoman Monica Rodriguez is recognizing an African-American Little League team that won the championship in the 70s, an all-Black team out of Pacoima. And down in the harbor at San Pedro, Councilmember McCosker just made one of the prominent intersections there, NAACP Square, because the city of San Pedro had a very strong, and still has a very strong, NAACP chapter. And so you see all across our city, there's a story to tell, and folks are telling it.
The city has only had 2 Black mayors. What does it mean now to have Karen Bass in the mayor's office?
Well, it's talk about joy. That was a joyful night for me to see her leadership get recognized on such a large scale. And so I think it means a great deal to the city, because now we're in a situation where the person who's best for the job doesn't have to be the right gender, the right race, from the right neighborhood. This is a working class Black woman from South Central LA, but she is the best for the job, and the people sent her to the mayor's office.
This has been a lively conversation. Thank you all so much for coming in. Councilman Curran Price, Councilman Marquise Harris Dowson, and Councilmember Heather Hutt.
Join the LA Harbor International Film Festival. Enjoy the UCLA String Quartet concert, or attend the exhibit Entanglements with Louise Bonnet and Adam Silverman. All this up next on Things to Do.
Join the 20th Annual Los Angeles Harbor International Film Festival, a showcase of films reflective of the area's rich history. This 3-day festival is a non-competitive, non-juried festival with programming by invitation and referral. The festival kicks off with its educational initiative, Read the Book, See the Movie, a program that gives area students a chance to see a movie based on a classic book. Also featured this year, an Emerging Filmmakers Showcase, a Hollywood nostalgia tribute, and movies featuring stories of the people who make up Los Angeles' harbor area. Come to the Department of Cultural Affairs Warner Grand Theater in historic San Pedro to be a part of the 20th Annual LA Harbor International Film Festival, March 2nd through the 5th. Tickets are available at the box office. For more information, log on to laharborfilmfest.com. The LA Public Library invites you to Classical Music Saturday with musicians from the UCLA Gluck String Quartet. The ensemble is made up of top string players from the UCLA Herb Alpert School of Music. These talented musicians have performed master classes with acclaimed musicians, receiving honors in festivals and competitions performing around the world. The UCLA Gluck String Quartet features 2 violinists, a violist, and a cellist. Check out the free UCLA String Quartet concert on Saturday, March 4th at 2 p.m. at the West Valley Regional Branch Library in Reseda. Log on to lapl.org/events for more information. Don't miss the opportunity to see the first artist intervention at the Frank Lloyd Wright designed Hollyhock House. The exhibit, Entanglements, is the first formal collaboration for LA-based artists Louise Bonnet and Adam Silverman, hosted at the city's premier UNESCO World Heritage Site. Known for her portraits of exaggerated proportions and grotesque features, Bonnet continually explores emotions of melancholy, loneliness, nostalgia, and grief in her work on canvas and paper. Silverman's ceramics and sculptural vessels bring an architect's sense of structure to his objects and utilizes personal and experimental techniques to glaze and fire his works. The paintings and ceramics are installed in the Hollyhock House public rooms, where owner Aline Barnstall's celebrated art collection was once on display. See Entanglements, Louise Bonnet and Adam Silverman at the Hollyhock House now through May 27th. To get more information and to reserve tickets, log on to hollyhockhouse.org. And that's a look at some things to do.
And that's it for this edition. I'm Natalia Bilbao, and from all of us here at LA This Week, thank you so much for joining us. A reminder that you can catch us online at lacityview.org, and we're also on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. See you next time for more LA This Week.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this meeting of the Los Angeles City Council. Today is Wednesday, March 1st, 2023. I'm Paul Krikorian, President of the City Council, and I'd like to bring this meeting to order. So if we could bring the volume of our conversations down, please, so we can proceed. As permitted under Assembly Bill 361, public comment will be taken today via teleconference as well as here in the John Ferraro Council chambers. So with that, we are ready to begin. Mr. Clerk, if you could please call the roll.
Yes, Mr. President. Bloomfield, De Leon, Harris-Dawson, Hernandez, Hutt, Krikorian, Lee, McOsker, Park, Price, Rahman, Rodriguez, Soto Martinez, Yaroslavsky. 10 members present and a quorum, Mr. President.
Thank you. First order of business, please.
Approval of the minutes of February 28, 2023.
Councilmember Rodriguez moves. Councilmember Hernandez seconds. Next.
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
Councilmember Price moves. Councilmember Park seconds. Next. Can we run through the agenda, please?
Mr. President, there is a request to continue item 4 to Wednesday, March 15, 2023.
All right. Without objection, that'll be the order.
Mr. President, items 1 through 11 are items for which public hearings have been held. The Public Safety Committee report has been submitted for item 11 and uploaded to Council File number 23-0146. Items 12 through 17 are items for which public hearings have not been held. Items 18 through 22 are closed session items considered by the Budget, Finance, and Innovation Committee. 10 votes are required for consideration.
All right. Item 8, I'd like to refer to the Budget Committee. And what does that then leave before us?
Mr. President, the council may not vote on items 1 through 3, 5 through 7, and 9 through 11.
Very good. Those items are now before us, members. Do any members have items that they would like to call special? Councilmember McOsker.
I'd like to pull item 11 for discussion and separate vote.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Hernandez.
I'd like to call item 3 for comments, please.
Very good, thank you. Any specials on the right? Okay, seeing no other specials.
And Mr. President, for the record, the council may now vote on items 1, 2, 5 through 7, and 9 and 10.
Very good. Those items are before us. I see no members wishing to be heard, so let's go ahead and open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the votes.
11 ayes.
Very good. So let's go ahead and move on to our closed session items. Mr. Blumenfield, can you give us any guidance as to the closed session items on today's agenda?
Certainly. The Budget Committee considered these items in closed session, and recommendations are here. I think we can handle this in open session today.
Very good. Thank you. So, Mr. Clerk, if you could please read in the settlements.
Yes, Mr. President. For item 18, in the case entitled Ana Maria Orellana versus City of Los Angeles, there's a recommendation to expend up to $175,000 in settlement. For item 19, in the case entitled Carolina Macubaje versus City of Los Angeles et al., there's a recommendation to expend up to $275,000 in settlement. For item 20, in the case entitled Janine Molina versus City of Los Angeles, there's a recommendation to expend up to $835,000 in settlement. For item 21, in the case entitled Fariba Z. Panbecci versus County of Los Angeles et al., there's a recommendation to expend up to $985,000 in settlement. For item 22, in the case entitled Mia Pano, a minor et al. Versus City of Los Angeles et al., there's a recommendation to expend up to $10,500,000 in settlement.
Very good. So public comment was taken on those items in Budget and Finance. We, according to Mr. Blumenfield's instruction, we can vote on those items now. If there's no members wishing to be heard on those items, let's go ahead and open the roll, close the roll and tabulate the votes.
11 ayes.
All right, thank you, members. We're prepared now to proceed with public comments. So, Mr. Clerk, if you could please read the instructions for comment.
Thank you, Mr. President. As indicated on the agenda, members of the public wishing to offer public comment should call 669-254-5252 and use meeting ID number 160-535-8466 and then press pound. Then press pound again when prompted for participant ID. Once admitted into the meeting, press star 9 to request to speak. When it is your turn to speak, an automated Zoom voice will ask you to press star 6 to unmute. Let me repeat. Call 669-254-5252 and use meeting ID number 160-535-8466 and then press pound. Then press pound again when prompted for participant ID. Once admitted into the meeting, press star 9 to request to speak. When it is your turn to speak, an automated Zoom voice will ask you to press star 6 to unmute.
To members of the public calling in, when it's your turn to speak, please state which of the agenda items you'd like to speak on. You have 1 minute per item to speak, up to 3 minutes total, and if you wish 1 minute for general public comment, please begin with the items before beginning general public comment. We'll tell you when your time's up. When speaking on the agenda items, you need to be on topic. Our goal is to get through as many speakers as we can. If you're not on topic, or if we can't tell whether you're on topic, you'll get one brief warning from me or the council president. At that point, you need to get on topic immediately, clearly. If you don't, or you again stray off topic, unfortunately, you'll forfeit your speaking time and we'll move on to the next speaker. The items that are open for public comment are items 12 through 17. That's 12 through 17. You're free to speak on the other items or anything else within the subject matter jurisdiction of the city during general public comment. As you were told, when it's your turn to speak, an automated Zoom voice will prompt you to press star 6 to unmute yourself. If you don't do so, council staff will prompt you once more, usually by reading off the last 4 digits of your phone number. At that point, you really need to press star 6 right away, or unfortunately, we're going to move on to the next speaker. Finally, we understand that you may be listening to the council meeting on multiple devices, Channel 35 or YouTube. There is, however, a brief time delay between the live meeting and the broadcast, so we recommend 2 things. First, when it's your turn to speak, please turn down the volume on the other devices right away. Between the time delay and feedback, it really causes a great deal of confusion if you're listening on multiple devices. Secondly, please keep one ear to the phone while you're waiting. We want you to hear in real time when it's your turn to press star 6. If you're only listening on another device, you may not hear right away, and unfortunately, you may get passed over. And with that, Mr. President, we are ready to begin public comment.
Thank you very much. So we'll begin with those who are here in the council chambers, and I'm going to call out several names. If I call your name, please come on up to the aisle on your left so that you will be prepared to speak, and you can come on up in any order. I'm going to call up first Dr. D, Arnold Sachs, and Ankur Patel, please.
Hi, which items had you signed up for?
Public comment.
Public comment, you have a minute. Please begin.
Thank you. Kevin De Leon, why are you here today? Get out. You do not belong in this room. Besides saying that, I want to, I hope, reinforce what Unisys is going to say or what's going to happen with respect to item number 3 on the agenda, which is giving $54 million to the LAPD for transit policing. The transit does not need to be policed by the LAPD. Get them out of it. This is yet another way in which the LAPD ups its budget over and over and over again so that it takes more and more of city money from our taxpayers without any need. This is a horrible proposition, and I hope you vote against it when you vote. But Kevin De Leon, you need to get out of here now.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Arnold Sachs, Ankur Patel, Dylan F., please.
So, Mr. Sachs, which items had you signed up for?
Oh, I signed up for 13, 14, 16, And I probably signed up 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17
Okay,
public
so you
comment.
have 3 minutes for all of those items, and after that, a minute for general, I assume. So go ahead, please.
Okay, number 13 refers to corporations, LLCs, and incorporations. And it's really important. There's a lot of businesses that are out on the street right now that have no business license. And I'm wondering if the city has a way of correcting that, going to check on some businesses that don't have business licenses. Without business license fees, nothing gets repaired. There is no money. I don't know if you've noticed how shitty the streets are in some parts of LA. They're pretty shitty. There's a sinkhole that just opened up in Union Pico. The place is falling apart. Number 14 refers to the Americans with Disability Act. There's an Endangered Species Act of 1973. Is that a federal act? Is that Endangered Species Act for all 50 states? Because I'm wondering, because there was Obamacare, Affordable Care Act that President Obama signed about 10 years ago. And I'm pretty sure that was for all 50 states. But the guy who was involved in it stole the money. But no big fucking deal. Number 16 refers to COVID. Is it COVID or novel coronavirus? Or is it SARS? Or is it monkeypox? I heard the county is going to end the requirements in the end of March. What difference does it make? What day is one day is what day? It's all about it's all about common sense. People are playing football and basketball and baseball. Stadiums are half full. Nobody's practicing. How do you practice social distancing? Do you have a class to practice social distancing? I don't hear any. Well, that's fine. But do you? You don't have a class to practice social distancing. Do you have a class to practice mask wearing? Why are so few people wearing masks? Isn't it required? Isn't it a state requirement? Didn't the mayor of Los Angeles pass an edict, a mandate, or something about requirements about the state? You look confused, city attorney.
Can we get back on the items?
Number 17 refers to being focused on oversight. What is an oversight? What is being focused? Is that like uplifting? Is that robust? When you're focused on an item? How focused are you? Some woman just said they're spending millions of dollars on transit police. Have you been down to the subway? Have you seen how shitty it is? How dirty it is? Those cars are nasty.
You can go into general if you wish, Mr. Sachs.
Fine. General public comment. Number 2 and number 1 refers to housing and homelessness. Which is which? You just had a committee meeting about what? How, homelessness or homeless? You have an item here from, oh wait, hold on. I got it. Oop. You have a court case, a federal court, United States District Court, referring to homeless individuals. You have an item from February 24th of this past year, direct the Assistance of Los Angeles Homelessness Service Authority, LAHSA. And number 23 says Los Angeles Homeless Service Authority. It's the same fucking authority. It's homelessness and homeless. So which is it? Who's in charge? Who's reading these fucking agendas? Do you read these agendas? Do you check this shit out? You have committee meetings. Mr. Marquise Harris Dawson, why'd you bring Malcolm X?
Thank you, Mr. Sachs. So your time's expired.
Thank you. Your time is expired. Have a seat. I'd like to call now Ankur Patel, Dylan F., and Andrew Grabner, please.
Hi, Mr. Patel. Which items did you sign up for?
Can I speak on item 3 or no?
You can speak about it in general.
In general. So 11, 14.
It was 12 through...
I can't speak on 11?
12 through 17 were the
Okay,
ones that...
so 14, 16, 17, and general comment.
Okay, so you've got 3 minutes for those items, and then you can talk about the rest in general. Please begin.
So item 14 in the Warner Center, the design, I took the orange line to the red line today. The signage is bad, the electronics are bad. Hopefully we can do something well with this Warner Center project, but sanitation, right? We had Ciclavia successful in the valley, but walking it, nobody did the sanitation before. And we had 300 to 400 police there. So item 3, I'll talk about again, but weaving it together. This is such an opportunity here in the Warner Center, and City Council Member Blumenfield, maybe Congress Member Blumenfield one day, doing the things in the community that matter, right? Using the resources to help the people is what we are here for. And oftentimes people are here because we don't feel like you're doing your job. You know what you're doing, you know what your staff is doing. Some of us don't see that. And so we come here with a little bit of edge in our voice, anger in our action sometimes, but we got an opportunity to do a lot. So I think that is good. And please make sure there's enough budget, because this is overtime salaries. Make sure there's budget for sanitation built into it at the rate that we need. That could help in a lot of ways. Make sure the trash cans are put in the right place all across, in the valley especially, but everywhere, right? The trash cans are overflowing, and I can't believe you remove the trash cans around where an encampment is because you don't want to service that side. Come on, folks. Let's get real. And so the next one, took a little bit longer. Thank you for that. Item 16, right? I'm trying to be vegan, right? We look at the state of the world, the 6th mass extinction, the zoo, and this is a battle, right? I'm not one of these really picky vegans who's like holding it over people, but the zoo is one of those opportunities. We had this whole debacle with animal shelters. There's a whole energy here that we could improve. Field trips, right? Tying that into this next generation and how we are educating people about what is going on. I just saw Vince Bertoni on my way out. He's the general manager of the Department of Planning. We got Chatsworth Park Elementary School turned into Chatsworth Park Urban Planning Magnet. When I was working for Scott Schmerlson, we made that transformation. Instead of having a little school that's one magnet program where the smart kids are over here and the other kids are left behind, the entire school is an urban planning magnet. I even sub there. I'm also a substitute teacher at LAUC. I sub in middle school because that's where the need is greatest. I'm off topic. Item 17, looking at the monitoring of land, the Tatavium Land Trust. That's one in the valley. They were just at that Tarzana culture. Safi was there. Like bringing in the resources and the talent and the capacity that Los Angeles has to offer, there's no shortage of that. So in this general, I'm still on items, which is so hard to speak on because you jump in and now into general comment. When I started making comment was back in 2007, and a lot has changed from 2 minutes to 1 minute, from 7 minutes to 4 minutes total, to you have to have your whole speech on whatever you're talking about lined up right here. And when do we actually get to make input on your decisions? You vote on things before people even have a chance to comment. Some of you are trying harder than others. Can we all try a little bit harder to engage the city, the public? El Sanguito is running live streams of City Council on Twitch. Maybe other folks can do that kind of activity to, again, engage people. I appreciate your attention. This podium of the people, where truth rings out against corruption and incompetence. And people have said a lot about certain council members needing to go. I don't even need to say it because you know it. We could do better. City Council District 6, you should be supporting Antoinette Scully, and if you're not, that's your own bad.
Thanks, Mr. Bertel. Hi, would you remind us of the name you signed up under and what items you signed up for?
Dylan F., and I originally came for item number 3, but that's already been voted on before the people's voice can be heard.
Do you want to talk about it in general public comment?
Yes.
Okay, please go ahead.
Okay, so where to start? I guess I do want to commend Council Members Soto Martinez and Hernandez for taking this issue seriously, but that commending of them does not extend to any other council members here. This item should not have been voted on before general public comment on it, or not general public comment, before comment on the item. But also on top of that, if we're going to look on the facts, because this item has been discussed at various local levels of, or various levels of government, This item was heard by the Metro Board about whether Metro should continue to have police on the Metro system, and everyone that called in was against it. At every point in the process regarding police on Metro, people have called in and been against it, and still to this day, not only have those members of the Metro Board been against the will of the people, but so have you.
Thank you.
Okay, Camille Lewis, Kyle Jones, Nelia McOsker.
And Mr. Grabner, which items had you signed up for?
General public comment.
General, please go ahead.
All right, so can I have everyone's attention because I'm not seeing enough eyes on me. I don't think there's anything else you should be doing right now other than sitting there doing nothing else than looking at people who are giving public comment and paying attention. So if everyone could please put down your pieces of paper, put down your phone, you know, stop your side conversation, look over here, that would be really good. We know that, I'm talking to all of you actually, really. Yeah, I know KDL's hiding back there. You still need to resign, KDL. It's absolutely shameful that you're approving $500 million in funding for the LAPD on Metro when all they do is harass riders and make it less safe for everyone. Yeah, so KDL needs to resign and all of you need to stop enabling him. Like, he needs to resign.
Thank you. Hi, Ms. Lewis. Which items had you signed for?
General public comment.
Sure. Please begin.
What that guy said was like really, really smart. I was gonna like just, you know, scream at Tracy, but that guy was so brilliant. Oh my God. Just, Tracy, you suck. And then, Monica, I'm coming for you. I didn't bother you with that woman because I was being polite because that was like a nice woman. Monica, I am here to fucking ruin your life. You guys banned me, and then there was a big event, and she was forced to be like within 10 feet of me, and I was screaming at her. So I don't know. I'm unhinged, perimenopausal. I'm sorry. I do respect you guys. You know that. I'm sorry. It's just the frustration has grown to anger. Okay. I don't. You know, sorry. You know, it's just you become unhinged. I campaigned for you. You know that. I walked. These shoes have no soles because I walked the ground in Echo Park for you. It's just I became unhinged. It just happens. Oh my God. Fuck you, Kevin DeLeon. You're a racist. Fuck you.
Thank you, Ms. Lewis.
Kyle Jones, Nella.
Hi, so if you would remind us of the name you signed up under and what items you signed up for.
Nella McOsker, item 17.
Excellent. So you have a minute. Please begin.
Good morning. I'm Nella McOsker, CEO of Central City Association, and I'm here to express support for item 17. CCA thanks Council President Krikorian, Councilmember Harris-Dawson, and Councilmember Blumenfield for exploring how oversight can make the development process more transparent and effective in our city. In addition to the motion before you today, we ask that the council consider other solutions to streamline planning and land use decision-making. For example, community plans could be automatically scheduled for public hearings. They're an important tool for guiding growth and meeting housing requirements, but they need to cross the finish line to be effective. There are certainly other opportunities for governance reform, and CCA will be an active partner in these conversations. We're releasing a report with additional items and ideas in coming weeks. It'll review other cities' approaches to redistricting, the size of the council, balance of power, and thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Kyle Jones, Stacy Vergara.
Hi. Which items had you signed up for?
public comment.
Great. So you have a minute. The floor is yours. Please
Thank
begin.
you. I'd like to begin by acknowledging the gentleman that said engagement is a thing, should be a thing here. It was a hassle to get me and my friend here to this meeting today, and it should not be as inconvenient as it was. But that's not what I'm here to talk about. I believe there's a genuine concern for the public safety of this city. Across the country, we have seen a rise of right-wing extremist attacks, and it is getting frightening, to say the least. Last November, power companies in Oregon and Washington reported that their electrical substations were attacked by gunfire. In December, the entire county of Moore County in North Carolina was wiped out. Over 100,000 people had no power for an entire week because, again, their electrical substations were attacked with gunfire. And just last month, the Justice Department arrested this couple that was allegedly planning to attack, once again, an electrical substation to entrap the city of Baltimore. This is a clear and present danger to the city, and I want everyone on this council, except for DeLeon, to start to take steps to fix this issue.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, Mintu, followed by Stacy.
Hi, which items had you signed up for today?
General public comment, please.
Okay, please go ahead. You have a minute.
Hi, Kevin. Thanks for joining us today. I missed you yesterday, and I've been wanting to sing for you all. So, Kevin, for you, you're here, my singing you'll hear, because there's a racist in chambers. Kevin, you racist son of a bitch, and I will keep singing until your resignation, racist Kevin. Thanks for hearing me out, you guys. You're still complicit in this, and it would be great if you'd keep your word as far as no business as usual while there's a racist in the chambers. Fuck you, Kevin. Thanks.
Thank you. Hi, which items had you signed up for?
Yeah, hi, my name is Mantu.
Okay.
About 3 months ago, I met a lady, a black 38-year-old lady. She told me that she was at the foster care, taken from her mother when she was an infant. And as a result, she never met her father. She's 38 today. And also, her relationship with her mother was damaged from the time she was taken from her mother. They have no relationship right now. And also, when I was at court at Monterey Park, one of the lawyers who was assigned to me, who's Asian American, he told me that what he had learned is that they hated me, and also he told me that the whole thing was about race. And but he said, I'll help you with everything I can. Unfortunately, he left. And so we just became a cultural damage. And these things, they happen so much over there at the Children's Court.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, members, we're going to move to the phones. We've got several callers. Mr. City Attorney, would you explain to the public how they can call in, please?
Yeah. So, please be quiet. So, just as a reminder for members of the public who are dialing in for public comment, call 669-254-5252 and use meeting ID number 160-535-8466. Then press pound, and press pound again when prompted for participant ID. And once admitted into the meeting, press *9 to request to speak. So again, that's call 669-254-5252. Use meeting ID number 160-535-8466. Press pound again when prompted for participant ID, and press *9 to request to speak. Once you're admitted An automated Zoom voice, when it's your turn, will prompt you to press *6 to request to unmute yourself, I should say. So listen on the phone for the Zoom voice to prompt you to press *6. With that, Mr. President, we can take the phone calls.
First public speaker, please.
Caller, which items would you like to speak on?
Morning, Savo.
Hey, Mr. Kwan, which items did you want to speak on?
Item 17 in general public comment.
Sure, so you have a minute for each. Please begin.
So this item was introduced and scheduled within a week without a committee here. I'm a little curious what happened to the pledge to send it to our almighty governance reform committee and having a deliberative process. Honestly, I'm not too hung up on this thing. I appreciate this motion. I frankly hated David Rue's original proposal for an anti-corruption office and hated Paul Corrett's trying to reignite it and actually make it worse by broadening the mandate of the potential department. And this motion addresses all of those things that I really hated about the original proposal. So it's all good, but I do think it's absolutely fascinating that the motion was voted on 4 months ago. And according to this motion, the CLA never got around to it. It hasn't even started that report back. And that's kind of what happened when David Rue passed this thing 2 years ago. That's kind of what happens with a lot of reforms.
You can go into general if you want.
Happens with things like the motion from Monica Rodriguez and Marquise Harris-Dawson to find out potential involvement of LAFD and LAPD in the insurrection. That was introduced long ago in 2021, and we still haven't gotten anything back. It was voted on by the council a year ago. We still haven't got anything about that. Karen Bass is saying she wants to get rid of extremists in LAPD. We can't even get this fucking report back years later. I just find that absolutely amazing. And I want to give a particular shout out to Councilmember Heather Hutt for butchering the enunciation of Guyana. That's where my family's from. And they're also from Trinidad and Tobago. And I find it really insulting to see that none of you acknowledge the greatest nation in the Caribbean. I hope you don't repeat that again. And with that, I'll just yield my time and say, fuck you, Kevin De Leon. I'm coming for your ass.
Thank you.
Next caller, please.
Caller, which items would you like to speak on? Caller with the last 4 digits 1991, please press *6 to unmute.
So speaker with the
Hello.
digit. Oh, hi.
Can you hear me?
We can. Which items
Hi.
would you like to speak on?
Okay, the items I'm speaking on. Items I'm speaking on. Just a moment. It's the above items and public comment.
Okay. So you have 3 minutes for items 12 through 17, and then after that, a minute for general. So please begin.
Okay, I'll speak directly to the public since this unprofessional city council can pay attention like children on those items. Number 12 is a motion for an actor inductee into the Hollywood Walk of Fame. I don't see the priority of these feel-good Walk of Fame motions or things like Nithya Raman making a complete fool of herself, taking the public's time with a high school marching band speech last week. This Walk of Fame motion and all other motions like it should include the fact that we, the people, have a humanitarian crisis created by this corrupt government. Since we, the people, have a humanitarian crisis created by the incompetence, waste, fraud, and abuse of public funds and of the public themselves via this corrupt and incompetent self-serving city council, then this motion and all other motions in this agenda should address and should include the root causes. However, since this corrupt and incompetent city council has put this Walk of Fame motion on the agenda, I am demanding that this motion should not only include a Walk of Fame person, but this motion should include all the Walk of Shame corruption inductees as follows: Councilman Mitch Englander, in jail now, racist Asian John Lee, the deputy mayor, Mark the Pimp Ridley Thomas, Marquise Dawson coming up, Nuri Martinez, Gilbert Cedillo, Kevin De Leon, Marquise Dawson. I demand that this motion for Walk of Fame and all future motions for Walk of Fame to include within it a walk of shame of all indicted and corrupt LAC council persons. That way, these motions can honestly remind the public of the real picture and face of the LA City Council: psychotic corruption, organized crime, waste, fraud, and abuse, and not just a feel-good Hollywood fantasy enactment. 14 is giving $140,000 for overtime at the Warner Center $1 billion mall project. What a waste this is. Does anybody even go to the malls anymore? Anyway, I object to this motion and I demand a no vote because corrupt little man Marquise Dawson is a co-signer on this $140,000 wasteful giveaway to a community other than the Black community he is supposed to represent, as usual. This motion is just another example of waste on a worthless project and the lack of representation from these Black coon sellout politicians. They drop their pants and bend over to all other communities but ours. I object to this motion and I demand a no vote because of the racist inequity it represents. Yesterday, corrupt Marquise Dawson was bending over to the Korean community with a cultural center, while the corrupt little man evicted the Black community's 20-year-old cultural center, the Aceva Center, and turned it into a COVID-19 testing site.
You can go on to
Corrupt
general if
little
you
man-
wish.
Yeah, corrupt. I'm just about to finish. I'm going to my public comment and turn the Black community's cultural center on Slauson and Crenshaw into a COVID-19 testing site. Today, Marquise Dawson is represented in supporting this $140,000 to District 3. 17 is for implementation of an independent auditor for planning and land use. This is the same planning and land use department that Jose Rizar was chair of and abused to the point that he is about to be sentenced between 9 and 13 years in his plea deal. I demand that the planning and land use department be taken completely out of the authority of this corrupt city council. The corrupt city council should have at very least instituted independent auditing of this corrupt department the very day that Huizar was indicted. Instead, criminally insane Herb Wesson appointed corrupt little man Marquise Dawson to head planning and land use. I demand that the planning and land use department be taken out of the
Thank you. Thank you, Speaker. Next speaker.
Caller, which items would you like to speak on?
Yes, so I'd just like to say it's very disingenuous of this council to say that you're going to do public comment when you've already decided how you're going to vote and that you're just going through the motions. I like to make a motion to the city council to at least vote the next day after you hear us speak so that you can pretend at least that what we say matter and that you're paying attention. So public comment doesn't really matter if you've already decided what the answers are and that you vote on everything all at once. That's another thing. Each of these items should be voted on individually, not lumped together and all yes votes when you're doing public comment. That's a slap in the face. It just tells us that what our comments don't matter anyway. You work for us. Start acting like it.
Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you.
Next speaker.
Caller, which items would you like to speak on?
Hi, item number 12 and general public comment, please.
Sure, you have a minute for each. Please begin.
Good morning, council members. On item number 12, this plaque for Michael Strahan. The ceremony for Michael Strahan's ceremony took place on January 23rd, 2023, and the star installation permit for that plaque was issued against city requirements on January 10th, 2023. So again, this is a retroactive vote, which goes against city requirements per Council File 78-3949. And before any permit was issued from the BOE, this vote should have taken place then. I hope that process has since been corrected. I haven't been told that it has been corrected. I want to remind those that don't know that the Hollywood Walk of Fame honorees, it's a public monument, and it requires council approval for every presumptive honoree prior to their induction. It's since been 784 days since January 6, 2021. General comment, please. I know it may surprise some here because former Councilmember O'Farrell and his staff repeatedly lied about the deaccessioning of names on the Walk of Fame while simultaneously serving as honorary board members at the Hollywood Chamber of Commerce. But from Supervisor Jay Correa at the State Office of Historic Preservation, who told me that local government holds all land use authority over property under its jurisdiction despite historical designation, to Carolyn Hayes, a federal preservation officer at the U.S. Department of the Interior, to legislative fellow at Congressman Schiff's office, Evelyn Bavar, who related answers to me from the National Park Service that there is nothing at the federal or state level preventing this council from acting to remove a neo-fascist name from our sidewalk. This city chooses what it wishes to express on its public right-of-way, and currently still choosing the continued glorification of a man who contributed to hundreds of thousands of American deaths with his lies, his attempted coup against the United States, and his calls for the termination of our Constitution. And honoring him on our sidewalk is a complete farce, and the city, the second largest city in the United States, needs to act.
Thank you. Thanks, Speaker.
Okay, next caller, please.
Next caller, which items would you like to speak on? Caller with the last four digits 1148, please press *6 to unmute.
So caller with the digits 1148, press *6 right away, please. No? All right, I think we should move on to the next person.
I'm here.
Oh, hi. Which items do you want to speak on?
I'd like to speak on all available items and general public comment.
Okay, you have 3 minutes for items 12 through 17, and then after that, a minute for general. So please begin.
Okay, thank you. The LA City Council is a racist, criminally insane organization of organized crime and nothing more. Kevin Leon, which is his name, belongs right where he is with the rest of the criminals. Regarding the votes, all votes today and every day will be vote traded, the main cause of our 60,000 homeless population, but the criminally insane will not do a turnaround and conduct another system. They're criminally insane, public. Number 12, Hollywood Walk of Fame. There should be no feel-good foolishness motions other than those transitioning from an LAPD economy to a people-serving economy. For instance, number 3, another $54 million contract increase to the LAPD, along with the $6 million last week. That's like $60 million, public, more money pumped into the LAPD. Criminally insane, stupid, corrupt little people. The LA Sleazy Council. 60,000 homeless. They just keep generating homeless people.
So we seem to be off the items. Could we get back on?
You're right. You're right, Mr. Favell. Thank you. Number 14, CD3 Bloomfield and Dawson. What a cursed name that is. $140,000 for salary and overtime for the LADOT for the wasteful Warner Center. Like the previous caller, nobody goes to the mall anymore. But hey, they all vote trade. What you put up, they're going to vote yes on it. I demand a no vote unless the black community gets equal treatment. Yesterday, Dawson sucked the butt out of every Korean in the place for a community cultural center for them while evicting the Atheba Center, the black community's cultural center of 20 years. Get that, public? That's the black representation. So I demand a no vote on this until the black community gets some representation, and butt suckers like Marquise Dawson and his corrupt crew, Heather Hutt and Price, do something for their own people. Number 17 is independent auditor for investigation of, for investigating land and planning and land use. Well, this planning and land use should be removed from the city council altogether. Does anybody remember Jose Huizar? And item number 6 on February 3rd, Dawson's giveaway of 34,000 square feet of public land.
So you can go into
To
general,
the Marriott.
Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Fable. To the Marriott Hotel and his developers, corrupt little man Marquise Dawson. Yesterday, Krikorian gave a speech on the presentation condemning Azerbaijan and Ilham Aliyev for the acts against the Armenian people. I really can't think of anyone that is a worse representative for the Armenian people on this subject. With this guy's targeting, he's of 4118 of homelessness, evicting homeless people from underpasses. 3 to 8 die every day. We're the homeless capital of the world. And he's complaining and whining about targeting civilians, pillaging, burning property, overrun, looted, destroying, facing racism, imminent genocide. Well, petty dictator Krikorian is the worst example that he could.
Thank you, Speaker. We'll move on to the next speaker.
Caller, which items would you like to speak on?
Yes, thank you.
Hi.
Being denied yesterday my public right, I accept it today.
Okay. Do you want to speak in general public comment?
No, I want 12, Mr. Bobble, and I also want to, and I apologize, my computer's down. I don't, the COVID issue. May I start, Mr. Bobble? I need
Please
your
go
permission
ahead.
for everything. So, thank you, Mr. Bobble. I'm here on my. Never mind. I'm not going to pick on you today. First of all, the Walk of Fame. Well, I'll tell you, Hollywood Boulevard. My family used to own a lot of property there, and the Hall of Fame Walk was something where the best, the most bright, the most accomplished actors would be honored. Mr. Strahan's a very accomplished person. He's in the Hall of Fame, but show me one movie he's done. Show me something that he's done. And yes, I know because he's on television, he's being nominated for this position. But please, there are so many fine actors who have done such great work that are not on there, and that's the shame. That's the shame when you pass them by for a gentleman who is in the Hall of Fame, Football Hall of Fame, but is on TV, and so that I guess qualifies him. In regards to the COVID issue, again, I state very clearly that I feel that the city of Los Angeles, the council has done a great job on this. Please just be very cautious, walk very carefully, and let's make sure we don't do anything too soon and too fast that can cause us to become what we were in 2020. Mr. Bobble, may I have your permission to speak since you denied me yesterday a public comment, sir?
You're on general right now. Please begin. Continue.
No, I'm not. I mean, may I ask you this? All right, let's start. To those of you who are calling and those of you who are there, please don't give up. There's a crack in the wall, and you folks, please just don't be so harsh with your words. Put the pressure on, keep the pressure up, and we can change this city. I believe it's the young man, Patel. He's amazing. I love what he states. He makes his issues very clear, and if that is your name, sir, I hope to hear you and continue hearing you in the future because you're speaking the right issues. Again, Mr. Bobble, you denied me my public speaking yesterday, but that's okay. This is all dirt and all stuff that's coming back to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Caller, which items would you like to speak on?
Hi, good morning. I'd like to speak on item number 3 and general public comment, please.
Okay, so we've voted, or rather, 3's not open for public comment, but you can talk about it in general, so we'll set the clock for a minute. Please begin.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Fable. Hi, good morning, council members. I would like to bring this to your attention regarding the subway station at the intersection of Hollywood and Highland, and I'm pretty sure all parts of Los Angeles. What I'd like to bring to your attention is that I've been witnessing a lot of fare evaders. I've seen people jumping over the gate and not scanning their cards, and they're skipping out on the fare. So I would like to ask that you guys support having more officers at the gates to monitor the gates to make sure that people are paying their fares when they go through the gate, instead of like pushing through the barrier, hopping over the barrier. This is what I've been seeing over and over again. And something needs to be done, because the amount of money that Metro is losing, that cost is going to be passed on to Metro riders. We're going to pay higher fares. That's not right. And I think.
Thank you.
Next caller, which items would you like to speak on?
Hi, good morning. My name is Lena Evasian. I'm a stakeholder in Mr. Lee and Mr. Bloomingfield's district. I also am on Canoga Park Neighborhood Council and Vice President of 60 Unit Condo. And today I'd like to speak on my own person.
Please go ahead. You have a minute.
Thank you. Items 14, 17 in general. Is it more than a minute?
Please begin.
Okay. 14, transportation. Warner Center transportation. Warner Center intersection and plan includes private developers within the plan to place interest in the streets and the signals who are reviewing said plans and ensure private investors are fitting the bill. Has anyone read the 300 plus page plan for the Warner Center? Let me interject. Section under 3.1.5 of the plan reads, quote, mixed commercial residential use. Further, 3.16 reads, open space residential project. Page 230 of the 316 plan, paragraph 2 reads, quote, provide traffic signals with automatic pedestrian walk cycles at new small streets and at existing signal locations, which will make signal spacing throughout Warner Center approximately 600 feet, end quote. Please read the plan. The plan itself confirms and writes out that private investors and developers that are coming into this Warner Center have a duty and a responsibility for the traffic lights and so on. Why are we fitting a bill?
Thank you, Speaker. So stop disrupting the meeting. She asked to speak on one item. She got a minute. Next speaker.
Caller, which items?
Hi. I just want to speak on in general comment, please.
Sure, please go ahead.
This really quick. Okay, thank you. Yesterday's performance by Marquise Harris Dawson, the councilman of our 8th district, is only one of the major straws of why we're going to get your ass out of there this time. What you did to the FIBA Center and to turn around and do what you did yesterday for the Koreans, nothing personal against Koreans, it's you. And when you guys sit around and say De Leon is a racist, no, you just take a good look at Marquise. He's anti-black as he is. And this has got to stop. We will not let you destroy the 8th district for another 4 years after this term. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Thank you.
Next caller, which items would you like to speak on?
Yeah, it's Eric Previn. I'll speak on the available items as well as the general public comment.
So you have 3 minutes for items 12 through 17, followed by a minute for general. Please begin.
Okay, well, I remember Sun Valley Paper Stock. This is a group that had Nuri Martinez's ear, and now they're providing a couple of cha-chings for the public benefit of CD6. I wonder why that wouldn't be more general, since there's some kind of it's for marketing a program for recycling they have. They also lathered up Councilmember Martinez, who has been, defrocked and shunned. But I just bring that to your attention. I don't know what to say about item 17 because it's so important, but I think Councilmember Rodriguez made the point that these kinds of initiatives where Krikorian himself, the high and mighty master, is going to finally implement some rules that he's been flouting for a decade. It doesn't make any sense. We need an independent governance approach. Now, Rue, who started this one, which is about developers, yes, developers are greedy, and yes, developers will do anything to get things approved. We've seen that. Weezar, Ray Chan, Mayor Garcetti, they all play Krikorian. All of them play the game. They take the money and they move forward the approvals. The problem is that we need a group of legislators and council members and supervisors who will not take the money. You can't stop people from giving. You can't. Free speech is money, right? That's what the Citizens United has said. People will do anything, but what we need is elected officials who will reject 25 donations from the Harvard Westlake trustees, veiled, and then pretend they didn't know with Irene and Caro bullshitting around. What we need is legitimate leadership who know what the difference between enforcing the rules and the laws of our land use and separating out when we're going to do the favor like Marquis Harris Dawson likes to do. When he'll put it on the agenda is so important. And then he pretends he doesn't know that the developer who I showed him slathered him up right after dumping the donations that he'd provided to Rochelle Weezar and Jose Weezar. He said, oh, I didn't realize it's hard for me to pay attention to all these things. It's hard. It is hard, but it's embarrassing and it's disgusting. Looking to the closed session, when a tree falls and someone gets hurt.
We've already dealt with the closed sessions. Would you like to talk about them in general?
Well, are we getting close to my general time? How much more time do I have on the items? I'd rather finish my item time and then
You've got a little less than 30 seconds for items 12 through 17, so let's stick with those then.
Okay, so let me do the less than 30 seconds and then I'll take the minute. Thank you, Falbo, for your diligence. I appreciate that you're monitoring the clock for a change as opposed to my comments and whether I'm on or off subject. Very important to allow people to speak. And here I am heading toward public comment, and I have to find the agenda right in front of me. Let me see if I can quickly squeeze out Michael Strahan is a lovely man, but again, someone brought up.
Now you're in general, Mr. Previn.
Okay, now we'll go to general. Thanks. 10.5 million. Is that a fair price for whatever happened in that case where a young person may have been crushed, or you don't announce what actually happened, and the LA Times didn't cover it that I could see? Well. Was there any visible evidence that the tree was falling apart before? Was the city put on notice that the tree was dangerous? And finally, if they were aware, did they do anything? But $10.5 million, this must be the week in the year when lawsuits are being pushed right out the door. I know Krikorian is giddy as it's Blumenfield who has to be the head of dirty work, even though all these things were set up by Krikorian. And for the next year, were set up by Krikorian. So watch the money roll out as he heads for terming out. It's appalling. And just one word for Vanessa Bryant. I feel so terribly that Kobe died and the daughter and the families and the friends. But to sue the county for $30 million is so abhorrent for a wealthy
Thank you, Mr. Previn.
Next caller, please.
Caller, which items would you like to speak on?
Hi, can you hear me?
You sure can.
Hello?
Which items would you like to speak on?
I was going to do just public comment, and that's all I'm going to do today, I guess.
Okay, so it's very hard to hear. If you could speak a little louder into the mic. I think you said general public comment.
Yes, I did. Can you hear me now?
Much, much better. Thank you. So we'll set the clock for a minute, and the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. I was going to bring up issues today that we're having in our city, but I'm going to recline from that because no one in this city ever listens to the public. They vote yes because everyone's in everyone's butt. They don't want to upset the apple cart of the corruption of this council. Kevin DeLeon, piece of shit, is still sitting there. So again, corruption brings him and continues to keep him. Yesterday, I was denied my public comment because, oh, that's right, because this meeting never starts on time, and, oh, yeah, everyone's in a hurry to get out. I want everyone on this council to take a moment and listen to the words of Michael Jackson and Lionel Richie. We are the world. Listen to that song and make it a point every single day to listen to it. Because if you're not touched by it, then you're nothing but a devil in disguise.
Thank you. Thanks, Speaker. All right, Ms. Dumont, Ms. Lewis, please be quiet. Next speaker.
Caller, which items would you like to speak on?
General.
Hi, Speaker. Which items do you want to speak on?
General comment.
Oh, very good. So please begin.
In a city where Latinos are the undisputed majority, with a population equal or greater than all major race groups combined, every day 1.8 million Latino taxpayers live in the hellscape that is Los Angeles. Latinos are almost 50% of all COVID deaths, mandated to make living space. Latinos are the majority of unsheltered, according to a 2022 LASA report, accounting for more than 45% and the fastest year-over-year demographic change, concentrated inside safe, tiny home ghettos. Latinos are underrepresented in 70% of city departments, according to our 2021 Controller Report, especially in leadership, senior, and regular positions, get paid less and get less overtime. Latinos are underrepresented in 86 of the city commissions, according to the city clerk's 2023 report, a huge disparity when compared with all major groups. Even if all vacant commission positions were filled by Latinos, they would still be underrepresented by 70% compared to their population. Latinos are underrepresented
Thank
in
you. Thanks, Speaker.
Caller, which items would you like to speak on?
Hello.
Hi, which items would you like to speak on?
I think it's number 12, and then public comment, please.
Sure, so you have a minute for each. Please begin.
Yeah, regarding the Walk of Fame stars, this is my neighborhood. This neighborhood is run by the Hollywood Chamber, and the Hollywood Chamber is run by developers. They set up the developer-funded PAC to get their candidates elected, and O'Farrell and Garcetti were among those. They throw money at all of the electeds. No one's ever going to question what they do. The Walk of Fame stars is a minor issue compared to what they control and run in this area. Now, I'd like to go to public comment.
Absolutely, please go ahead.
This is regarding the Hollywood Community Plan. We are in the regional center. This is the historic core of Hollywood. In the Hollywood Community Plan in February, March 2021, they pushed for Uber beyond planning staff recommendations, upzoning in the historic core, in spite of the fact that its feasibility study confirmed that that upzoning would prohibit affordable being built. CD13, former CD13, Hollywood Chamber, developers, lobbyists, and lawyers all called in pushing for that upzoning. Hollywood Chamber congratulated its members when they got that upzoning. Not only does it prohibit affordable being built, it threatens the Hollywood historic resources in the National Historic Register area of Hollywood, and all the preservation organizations are against it. If it goes to City Council, it's a slight chance they might not approve that because they're also funded by the developers at the Hollywood Chamber. It's just no way out with the corruption of the developers with this city. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next caller, please.
No more callers in the queue.
Very good. So we have taken all of the callers who called in today. We've taken public comment from everybody who wished to comment here in the council chambers. So public comment is now closed on all agenda items, and general public comment as well is now closed. So, Mr. Clerk, what is the next item for business?
Mr. President, the council may now vote on items 12 through 16.
Very good. Those items are now before us. I see no members wishing to be heard on those items, 12 through 16. So let's go ahead and open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the votes.
12 ayes.
Very good. Next item of business, please.
Mr. President, the council may now consider item 3, called special by Councilmember Hernandez.
All right. Councilmember Hernandez, did you wish to be heard on this item?
Yes.
Number 3. Okay. Floor is yours.
Thank you, Council President. Good morning, colleagues. I'd like to make comments on item 3 because these contracts with Metro are an improper use of taxpayer dollars. According to Metro itself, as well as separate independent audits, Metro has been overspending on the police with little to no oversight or accountability. This item requests a $50 million increase to a $429.5 million not to exceed contract. That's a 12.5% increase, when it was clearly stated in the prior contracts that LAPD was not to exceed original amounts. Despite the millions being spent year over year, a plan for safety on transit has yet to be developed, and there has not been any analysis done that showcases how our current system does in fact make transit safer. In fact, I have the Westlake MacArthur Park train station in my district, and since January, there have been about 100 calls made to LAPD just for that one metro station just since January, and over 60 calls to that metro station to the Los Angeles Fire Department. Again, we're just in the beginning of the year, and we've already had these dozens and dozens of calls. Additionally, independent audits have found that law enforcement presence on Metro can lead to increased harassment of Black transit riders, as well as riders who are unhoused. Every Angelino deserves a public transit system that allows them to travel safely and efficiently throughout our city. This money would be much better spent on life-affirming support systems that truly do the work of creating systems of care for transit riders, including social service outreach teams, which if you look at the latest report from the Metro Board, their outreach teams, the multiple disciplinary teams are doing an effective job at getting people actually into care. The Metro Path teams are doing a phenomenal job into getting people into care, into housing. And so in this moment, we really get to decide, do we want to invest in things that we have continuously over and over again without getting the results that we need? Or is it time to start investing in the things that we know prevent harm and violence and actually deal with the open-air drug use? Open-air drug sales is not new. We've been dealing with the war on drugs for over 60 years. There's tools to deal with open-air drug use. And a lot of it is outreach teams. A lot of it is harm reduction services. And so I encourage us to begin to invest in the mental health specialists, the cleaning and maintenance staff, and the safety architecture in these locations. I also encourage my colleagues to vote no on this item. We must do better for Angelinos and really start relying on the tools that are evidence-based, have been evaluated, and have been proven to work in other jurisdictions that have dealt with open-air drug use, mental health crises, and other issues that particularly impact Black, Brown, Indigenous, and low-income communities. Thank you. I ask for a no vote.
Councilmember Rodriguez.
Thank you, Mr. President and colleagues. Thank you, Ms. Hernandez, for citing all of the calls for service for those that are riders on our metro system, because we do need to have a safe environment for people to incent people to be more regular users of our metro system. My district happens to be among one of the highest users of public transit in the city. Which is why we're actually looking to invest and making a substantial investment, over $1 billion investment in the Northeast Valley line. For that reason, I think I absolutely agree with you. I think we need to have a complementary strategy to help assure that we're getting to the root causes of addressing what those calls, what is driving the need for those calls. But until we have that in place, and until the county can be forthcoming with the resources, because again, these are resources that are not availed by the city. We don't have a mental health department. We don't have a public health department. The county of Los Angeles has the full discretion and authority to avail those services. And the members of the County Board of Supervisors also have a role at the Metro, on the Metro Board, so that we can actually fully develop in collaboration the proper responses to the very issues that you raise. But until such time and those resources are forthcoming, for me, I know for a number of women, in fact, some women on my staff that were regular users of public transit, some of the lines, it is unfortunately, even in the subsequent years of the shutdown resulting from the pandemic, are no longer feeling comfortable or safe. We know that there have been a number of rapes and assaults and victims that do require these services. And so I think, until Metro decides that they have an alternative, LAPD has been contracted for these services, and I think for the purposes of, I know for the users in my district that continue to want to see LAPD's presence on there. Again, I welcome Metro to come up with an alternative solution that'll actually be responsive to the calls, because I know we're all in solidarity in wanting to have a safer system that people can rely upon and will incent greater usership for public transit. And colleagues, I ask for your aye vote.
Thank you. Please be silent and don't disrupt this meeting or you'll be removed. Councilmember Soto Martinez.
Good morning to my colleagues. I will be voting no on this item. I know why a lot of folks are going to vote yes, because if we vote no, it's the city that's going to be on the hook for the money, not Metro. But you know, I agree with both of my colleagues about trying to find the system that actually works. I do ride Metro about once a week when I don't have so many meetings outside of the office. And yes, there's a lot of issues on Metro. I understand why people feel unsafe. I understand why ridership is down. But if we really look at how we're talking about our taxpayer dollars. If you look at what we're getting in return for this, it's not a lot. $54 million, it turns out to about $228,000 per person for only 6 months. And when I ride Metro, I oftentimes see folks that are in need of care, they're unhoused, they need services, and the folks we contract walk right by them. It happens all the time. And so I hope this starts a discussion with Metro about how we can achieve the things that we all want. We want to feel safe. We want people to take public transit, but the money could be used in much, much better ways. I think that the discussion will continue through the summer because it's either going to get extended or we'll see what systems we can put in place. But I hope that we can get into a place where we're investing the money in the right way. And I don't think this is a good thing for taxpayers. So I hope folks vote no on this.
Thank you. Council, please stop disrupting this meeting and allow the council to debate this issue. This isn't a baseball game. Councilmember Park.
Thank you, Council President, and to my colleagues for their discussion on this issue. One of the most fundamental obligations of local government is to keep the public safe. And with year after year rising crime on public transportation, the evidence of our failure to do that could not be more clear. The hard reality here is that people on public transit do not feel safe. And worse, they are not safe. The trend we are seeing on Metro is outright horrifying. Violent crimes, including aggravated assault, robbery, rape, and murder, is up 24% over just last year. Last year, there were 1,385 incident reports regarding the presence, use, and distribution of narcotics, and complaints related to drugs on transit are now up 98.7%. So far this year, more people have died on Metro than all of last year. Sexual harassment and the threat of sexual assault are commonplace. The impact of that is that female ridership continues to drop. Multiple studies and surveys in recent years have all reached the same conclusion. The vast majority of people riding public transit want to be safe, and they want law enforcement protection. One study reported in the LA Times last year indicated that 68% of Metro riders want to make law enforcement on our public systems a priority. We aren't even keeping public workers safe. On average, 14 bus operator assaults occurred every month in 2022. That's every other day of the month. These working conditions are unacceptable by any standard. We have invested billions and billions of dollars to build out our transportation infrastructure, and yet we have utterly failed to keep these investments safe by ensuring that riders can get from point A to point B. Now, there very well may be different and effective solutions to addressing crime on transit. It may be the case that investment in MTA's transit security officers is what we need. Maybe we do need more transit ambassadors, people who provide customer service and directions to riders. Yes, we can invest in outreach and engagement services for the unhoused, but it cannot come at the expense of public safety. Those alternatives are not what is in front of us today. Today, what we are voting on is keeping LAPD on our transit system so there is some law enforcement presence that can respond in real time to very serious incidents as they occur. I personally am not going to sit idly by while people are being victimized. My yes vote today is the bare minimum that I can do with what is in front of us right now today to ensure that the Metro workers and the public on our transportation systems can safely move around our city. I encourage your aye vote. Thank you.
Good. Thank you. Councilmember Rahman.
Thank you, colleagues, for this discussion today about what we're voting on today and talking about public safety on the Metro. I think the number of deaths that have already happened on this year's in this year, 2 months into the year, that there have been more deaths in 2023 than all of last year is a really, really startling one. I also really want to underscore that all of these deaths, except for a couple, came from drug overdoses. And I think if we are to really address that issue, we have to talk in detail with complex issues and with complex responses about what it would take to address our epidemic of drug overdoses that we're facing here today. I also want to just underscore what we're voting on today. We're not voting on what the Metro's response to public safety issues will be. We're voting on a contract for which services have already been delivered. This happened last year in 2022. And voting no on this item today means that the city would actually end up being on the hook for payments that have already been made to police officers who have delivered these services to Metro that Metro has asked for from us. So I think it makes sense for us to vote yes on this today. I don't want to be on the hook for that. I do think it's an opportunity to think about what the city can offer to make Metro truly safe. The safety and well-being of Metro riders and workers are enormous importance to us. They're important not just for us to be able to use the Metro and prioritize those riders, but they're important for fighting climate change. They're important for raising our quality of life, to get us out of our cars. We need people changing their plans to incorporate Metro further into their lives, not to abandon it because they don't feel safe. But for that to happen, I think we really need a public safety approach that works. It needs to be high touch, high visibility. You need to get on a Metro bus or train and have a high likelihood that someone representing that system is there to help you, to find a solution, no matter what issue you're facing. Right now, that responsibility is largely faced by drivers, and it should not be drivers' job to do that. We have to have other people there to do that work. You'd have the capacity to have people on these trains and on these buses, not just to act in emergencies, but to act before emergencies occur. The city actually does contract to put services like that all over this city, including homeless outreach services. But none of those city resources are actually dedicated for Metro right now, which in a lot of ways is the area where the greatest need in Los Angeles is located. What they're asking us, the people who are riding the Metro, are asking us is for something that looks really different from what we're doing today. As with a lot of the public safety conversations that we're having all over the city, I don't think the solution is to take our current police response and just keep replicating and expanding it over and over again forever. But nor is it to remove that response and to replace it with nothing or say we're going to develop the system later. We have to look directly at the problems that we're facing, ask ourselves what solutions are within our means, what balance of responses from law enforcement and other kinds of support services would most directly address the problems that riders and workers are asking for. And then we have to build that solution together. I am really grateful for the work that our city representatives on the Metro board have been doing on these issues. I think the conversations that they're having there are rich, but I do want it to be a little richer. I want to urge the Metro Board to work diligently on charting a new path to providing a safe environment on our public transit. And it really is on all of us, if they're not coming to us and asking for anything more than LAPD services, for us to go to them and say, here's what we want to see on the Metro, here's what we want our riders to have, and we haven't done that work either. And so I want to say to all of you, let's do that together. Let's do that here in this body. Let's do that in our committees, and let's go to Metro and ask them. Let's build a solution together. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Blumenfield.
Thank you. Thank you, colleagues, for this discussion. I think it's great that I think everyone here agrees we want a public transit system that is safer. And ultimately, making that public transit system safer has got to involve a variety of things in addition to police. It's got to involve dealing with drug addiction. It's got to involve an unarmed response. It's got to involve outreach workers. All of these things we all know. But voting no on this will not make any of that happen. If we reject this, and I say this as someone, as your budget chair who has to look out for our budget, we lose $54 million out of our general fund because we are on the hook for this money. This is not money that we as a city are investing. There is not a dime of city money being invested here. This is Metro has a contract with the city of Los Angeles and with the police department to do this work. They have contracted with us. If we just pull out, they'll do what they did before they had us. They'll hire the sheriffs. We have more leverage when it's with LAPD than when they're working with the sheriffs. But regardless of that, what we're doing here today is accepting a contract change that allows Metro to pay the $54 million for services that have already been rendered. And if we reject that money and that contract, we then have to come up with $54 million, and that's going to come out of things that we care about. It's going to come out of street services. It's going to come out of our push for unarmed response. It's going to come out for all of the things, the good things that the city is capable and needs to be doing. So just from a budget perspective, I support this motion, even though I agree with the sentiment really that everyone here expressed that we need to change how things are done, and we can help lead to make that happen. But with that, I urge an aye vote.
Thank you. Councilmember Harris Dawson.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair, and thank you, members. I really appreciate this conversation and the scrutiny that we're giving to this type of spending in particular. I have stood behind this desk and watched program after program for poor people, and their staffs would be sitting right there, and we'd be haranguing them about why they spent the extra $10 here or why they spent the extra $50 there. We almost never do that when it comes to armed law enforcement. In point of fact, and I appreciate Councilwoman Park in particular reading the stats, in point of fact, what has happened here is we got rid of the sheriffs and we hired LAPD and it got worse. That's the fact. So, and I don't have a judgment about that, but that is the reality. It is our job to take a look at that. And I appreciate that we're raising it, because all too often what we say is people are unsafe, let's add more police. And the relationship isn't always there. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it is, but it isn't an automatic, and I think it ought to be examined and examined very, very closely. Particularly when we have folks that are putting out propaganda to tell us that, to suggest to us that somehow more officers would have stopped people from overdosing. It's not even logical. And so I think we need to, again, open up the doors, open the windows, have a full discussion, and move away from this notion that again, I hear all too often when we have this discussion. Yes, it is the county's responsibility. The county hasn't done a good job since I've been here. So at some point, we have to say, you guys aren't going to do it. We're going to do it. It's got to get done. These are our people. We have responsibility for them. We've got to do this. When you ride public transportation in other cities, you don't experience what you experience in LA, and no one in those cities is saying, oh, well, the county didn't do it, so it's not going to get done. We have to deliver safety to our folks. The bus has to be a place, the train has to be a place that people can ride, and we got to dig down deep and drill as deep as we need to actually produce a system that delivers safety. And again, that's not as easy as one vote or the other. And again, I understand that this vote is for what has happened in the past, not what happens going forward, but it allows us the opportunity to have a vigorous conversation, which I think needs to continue. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Councilmember Hernandez again.
Yes, thank you, Council President. I would just like to add, we're talking about, I understand that we're paying for services already rendered, which is what we have to do. But if we're going to talk about being fiscal increases, didn't make that train station safer. And we can't keep passing the buck on that's the county's job, they got to do it. We have to also push to make sure that these things move forward, because for so long we've passed the buck and we don't have the necessary care and support that we need, particularly for these type of locations. So I would just like for us, if we're going to talk about our bang for a buck, being fiscally responsible, then let's look at the numbers, because the millions that we've put into this contract have not made us safer and have not made the train stations, at least in my district, any safer. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Rodriguez.
Thank you. And completely agree. But I think, again, this is not city money. This is county contracted. And so we just want to make sure that going forward, we can have these conversations, but we also don't have any of the personnel to provide. We have nothing to offload these services to at this time. Until such time, I think this is absolutely an opportunity for us to engage in these conversations to address the root causes of what has contributed to an unsafe environment on our metro system. However, absent that, that's not the conversation that we are having today. And so, again, when we say, well, our resources, yes, but this is a metro contract. These are resources that have been provided to the city in response to the services that we have been provided and contracted and obligated to provide. But absent any alternatives, this is what we have. So now, do we have an opportunity going forward? Absolutely. But I don't think, putting ourselves on the hook for $54 million of a contract extension that county has extended to us, to Los Angeles Police Department for the services that have already been provided, is the way for us to get there. And so, colleagues, I ask for your aye vote.
Councilmember Hernandez.
I'd just like to clarify that, in fact, we do have alternatives. The fact that they haven't been invested in the necessary levels that they need to address these crises is another story. But the alternatives exist. The Metro Board has presented those alternatives. They have the teams. They just aren't funded to the levels that they need to be able to respond effectively. So we're beyond the time of that there's no alternatives that exist, because they do. So I just want to correct that. And I understand that we're paying for services rendered. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not trying to get on the hook for this. I just do think it's an opportunity to have this discussion, because we're talking about $54 million in addition to already hundreds of million more that already been given, and we're not any safer.
All right. There being no other speakers on the queue, let's go ahead and open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the votes.
10 ayes, 2 noes.
All right. Thank you very much. Next order of business, please. Please be quiet in the audience so we can conduct our business. This is multiple warnings. Please be quiet so we can conduct our business. Mr. Clerk.
Mr. President, the council may now consider item 11, called special by Councilmember McOsker.
Thank you. Councilmember McOsker, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, and thank you, members. I stand to first thank Supervisor Janice Hahn. Supervisor Hahn, who preceded me in this office as the council member of the 1-5, back when it was known as the 15th District, spent much of her time here on council and has spent a great deal of her time in public office combating gun violence and providing public safety. And so I'm very appreciative to her. Supervisor Hahn has made a choice to do a grant to the City of Los Angeles, or to our community, of $42,000 to host a gun buyback, and I'm honored that it's in my district, and it'll be at our Wilmington district office on Avalon Boulevard, 544 Avalon Boulevard, on Saturday from 8 until 1 p.m. And so I'd encourage everyone in my community to bring in a weapon that they want to turn in anonymously. It takes the weapons off of the street. Folks have an opportunity to get a gift card of $100 or $200. And what LAPD does is they receive the weapon while we are there with them. They make sure the weapon is safe. I've been to these gun buybacks before. Sometimes they are loaded weapons. And they make sure that these weapons are safe and they're set aside. They are reviewed to see whether they are stolen. And that's the only review that we do. To make, if they are stolen, we contact the rightful owner. But otherwise, they're put in a property room and they are disposed of properly. And when as a private citizen, when I participated in this, we have taken dozens and dozens and dozens of weapons off of the street in one session. Many of them are ghost guns, which is really frightening. And if you all know, ghost guns are guns that have no serial number, and they're basically constructed by an amateur, typically involved in gang activity. And what I have found in these gun buybacks is that we have responsible folks in a household who take the opportunity to turn in a gun that distresses them. And we really have the experience of guns coming off the street because of these gun buybacks. In Los Angeles alone, over 2,000 guns were taken off the street through this type of program in the last year, year and a half. I will also say that though it is only tangentially related, this week Councilmember Rodriguez and I participated in a press conference and a public announcement in the Harbor Division describing 82 guns that in an ATF and LAPD operation we took off of the street. And these were guns that were directly related to a gang that I will not name because they don't deserve it. We have a lot of guns in our community, and there are ways to take guns off of the street. ATF, LAPD operations, joint operations, warrants, and searches. That's one way. It's an expensive way. It's worthy, but it's an expensive way. There's another way, gun buyback, where we ask well-intentioned folks to partner with us to get dangerous guns off the street. I'm not worried about the folks who turn in the guns. I'm worried about someone breaking into the house and taking a gun. I'm worried about a child in the house getting a hold of the gun. I'm worried about what might happen to the gun if it's not cared for properly. So this gives us an opportunity to receive $42,000 from the County of Los Angeles and pay for a gun buyback program that makes our community safer. So I will urge an aye vote on this matter. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Rodriguez.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. McCosker. And I was proud to join you in remarking on the incredible public safety win that you had in the Harbor area earlier this week, and the collaborative approach with the District Attorney's Office, with ATF and LAPD to help not only remove the weaponry, but tons of drugs that would have easily made its way across the city of Los Angeles, fentanyl, meth, you name it. And so these kind of cooperative efforts are very important. But I agree with you, and I want to thank Supervisor Hahn for these resources, because these gun buybacks are critically important to providing an anonymous way for people to surrender these weaponry voluntarily, and to do so without question. That is the easiest, and that's the easiest way for us to help remove many of these items off of our streets. And I know they have netted us a great deal of success historically every time that they have been held. And so I just want to thank you thank you and Supervisor Hahn for leading this continued effort, because I think it is an important way and an important strategy for us to help get these dangerous weapons off the street, and particularly with respect to the ghost guns. We know that the home manufactured ghost gun is oftentimes involved with a number of bigger criminal activity that we need to ensure that people are afforded an opportunity and an option to get these dangerous weapons off of our streets. And so I thank you for this work, and I ask you colleagues for your aye vote.
Thank you. Councilmember Soto Martinez.
Thank you so much, Council President. I just want to just go on the record on why I'm voting no. It is not because of the program. Councilmember McCosker, I think we've worked very well together. I understand that is a good thing. We should get as many guns off the street. We heard this yesterday in public safety, and unfortunately there was nobody there to speak to the details of the event, because I truly wanted to get to the question, is it necessary to spend $38,000 on police overtime for this event? That was not answered since there was nobody there, and so I'll be voting no for that reason. But we really are sort of getting to the heart of a lot of the positions that I'm taking here in council. Is it necessary for LAPD to do this work? Right? We just had a discussion about Metro. We can see how our taxpayer dollars are being spent. Here we come again. So the same issues coming before us, and so. Since I don't have that answer, I will be voting no. But obviously, I respect the work that you're doing, Councilmember Kosker, and it's a good event. I hope it's successful. I hope people come and turn in those guns. That's the only way we're going to stop a lot of the violence in our communities. But thank you so much.
Thank you. Any other speakers wishing to be heard? I see none. So let's go ahead and open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the votes.
10 ayes, 2 noes.
Councilmember Rodriguez.
Request that go forthwith, please.
Without objection, that'll be the order. That'll take us, Mr. Clerk, next to item 17.
That is correct, sir.
All right. Members, first I want to take a moment to thank Councilmember Harris Dawson for co-presenting this motion with me. The objective of this motion is to address the ongoing challenge that the city has in monitoring its land use, development, and construction services for the potential for fraud, corruption, and other kinds of abuse. And we saw the manifestations of that, of course, in the recent criminal indictments against a former member of the council and a number of members of the staff. So the point of this is to have a very targeted approach to identifying the red flags that indicate the potential for fraud and corruption. And that's what the Inspector General's office would be tasked with doing. LA Metro has an Inspector General, which is focused on waste, fraud, and abuse regarding transit projects. The City of Chicago, the City of New York, Houston, Philadelphia, other cities have these positions that have the skill set and the focused oversight necessary to be able to identify indicia of fraud and corruption. And it's clear that Los Angeles should have such a position as well. We've taken a number of important steps with the Governance Reform Ad Hoc Committee in trying to transform the way we do business here in City Hall and ensure that we take every step necessary to be able to root out corruption and fraud. The truly independent redistricting commission work that we're doing in the commission, in the ad hoc committee, the updates to the municipal lobbying ordinance, and other steps. This is a very critical, time-sensitive, urgent need that we have to ensure that no one in this city feels that they can be involved in pay-to-play schemes without being identified and held accountable for it. So I look forward to the Ethics Commission working to prepare this report back, and I respectfully ask for your aye vote. So with that, let's go ahead and open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the votes.
12 ayes.
Very good, and I'd like that to go forthwith as well without objection. That'll be the order. Mr. Clerk, what's the next item of business before us?
Council has motions for posting and referral.
Without objection, posted and referred.
The desk is clear, sir.
Very good. Members, do we have any announcements? Any members on the left, any announcements? Members on the right, any announcements? All right, if we could then, Councilmember Hernandez for an announcement.
Yes, please.
Okay, please go right ahead.
Thank you. Okay, I'm so excited about this announcement. Please just let me pull it up real quick because I want to get you the right information. So there's a dog in one of the South LA animal shelters. His name is Chulo. He is 3 years old. He's a Rottweiler. His family had to give him up because in the new apartment that they were moving to, the landlord didn't allow them to have a pet. But this dog is such a good dog. It's such a beautiful dog. And he has until 4 p.m. to be saved today. If no one adopts him by 4 p.m., we are not a city that is a no-kill city at this point. So this dog's life will be lost. I'd like to give the ID number of this pup so folks can check him out. He's such a good dog. I couldn't move forward trying to do my best to uplift him because then I can't sleep. So if you just give me a second, I want to pull up his ID number really quickly. Such a good dog. The ID number is ID number is A2050760. Again, this is Chulo. He's in the South LA Animal Shelter. Here's a video folks can see. Beautiful Rottweiler, 3 years old. Please adopt him if you can. You can also check out our social medias because we're constantly reposting dogs and other animals, hamsters and cats that really need to be saved. So please, if you can check them out, I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other announcements, members? All right, any motions for adjournment? Motions on the right? Motions on the left? All right, seeing none, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much.